Welcome to the Youth Work Common Room podcast series. I'm your host, Steve Walker, and this episode will explore the social construction of youth and focus on a practice-focused value of understanding adolescence. This will act to parallel the importance of youth work and informal education for young people. So in this podcast, we'll look into the evolving world of youth work, education, and the critical role young people play in shaping their and our future. We will start by exploring something that's central to youth work, the social construction of youth and adolescence. And then we can look at how informal learning can act as a powerful catalyst for engaging young people. So you may be asking, what does this talk of social construction mean in relation to young people? And how has adolescence become such an important focus for youth workers? Well, relax, find a space, because we're about to unpack these ideas and examine how informal learning environments can serve and act as the platform for enabling young people. Part 1. The social construction of youth. First, let's address the idea of youth as a social construct. When we talk about youth, we're not just describing a biological stage of development. Yes, adolescence, the period between childhood and adulthood, is a critical time when physical, emotional, and cognitive changes occur. But beyond the biology, the concept of youth is also arguably shaped by society, culture, and even history. Historically, the idea of adolescence as a distinct phase of life is actually relatively new. It wasn't until the late 19th and early 20th centuries that the concept of adolescence emerged as something to be studied and understood. With the rise of industrialisation and compulsory education, young people were increasingly seen as a unique social group, one that wasn't quite ready for the responsibilities of adulthood, but was no longer considered to be a child. This has been a perpetual development. Today, this dynamic continues in contemporary society and acts as a form of potential discrimination, the causality of young people as folk devils, and this can lead to a restriction of rights. This also reinforces the societal obligation to do at young people rather than to do with. Some of those topics are for future podcasts, so please like and subscribe to be notified about these future releases. It's valid to note at this point that the application of various social constructs around the idea of youth can be specific to individuals and groups. The view perhaps of the youth worker may be very different to groups of teachers, adults in a community, and so on. Therefore, the principles of the social construct are not static, and this creates a need for discussion between the different versions of the constructed realities that people have. So there's a tension for youth work practitioners in working with the dominant, often negative, representations of young people that can be incredibly powerful in the often rapid and bland determination of the social category of youth. This can manifest as something to be controlled or something to be fixed in some way. This type of discourse will be something that youth workers will be familiar with. We will often oppose these simplistic views due to a developed understanding of the experience of young people, our observations on how policy and legislation act as a deficit model of restraining active participation of young people. As time's gone on, the idea of adolescence has expanded. Different societies define youth in various ways, and cultural, economic, and political factors all play a role in shaping how we understand, treat, and respond to young people. In some cultures, youth is seen as a time for learning, growth, and experimentation. In others, young people are expected to take on adult responsibilities much earlier, especially in places where socio-economic pressures are high. As you'll be aware, the tolerance of young people in their adolescence can shift, and shift dramatically, from youth as victim to youth as problem, with variables in between. As advocates for young people, we walk a fine line between conspirator and colluder, an interesting team discussion to take on, and one that's valuable with communities too. Key questions for the youth worker to reflect upon at this point is how individually and as a youth work team we have constructed our ideas of both youth and adolescence. And has this and how has this developed over time or through our experience? Part 2. Adolescence and the focus for youth work. So why is adolescence such a focal point for youth work? Why are there so many resources, areas of provision, programmes, initiatives aimed specifically at this group? Well, as a discussion focus, adolescence is a time of identity formation. It's a period of exploration, of figuring out who you are, where you fit in, and what you believe. Youth workers should work to develop and understand that this is a period of transition. It can be both exciting and challenging. It's a time when young people are trying to navigate new social landscapes, testing boundaries, and developing their own sense of autonomy. The vulnerabilities of adolescence, whether they stem from peer pressure to peer conformity, social expectations, or personal insecurities, make this stage of life a critical one for various types of support. And this is where youth work operates and plays a vital role as a unique profession that singularly acts as an agent of social change as opposed to social control. Youth work is not just about guiding young people, it's about creating spaces where young people feel safe to explore who they are and where they belong, what aspirations they have, and what hopes they have that are present. In this way, adolescence is a natural focus for youth work. It's the time when young people are most receptive to various influences, and the opinions and experiences that shape ideas and perspectives are open to critical inquiry. But this is also the period of time where young people are most in need of our understanding and empathy. Reflecting. It's not just about providing answers for young people. It's about enabling young people to ask the right questions, questions related to their experiences that enable informed choices, acting and importantly learning as a soundboard, a listener. At this point, the importance of the equitable relationship really needs to be secure and in place to be able to support and equally offer positive challenge to encourage critical thinking. Part 3. Informal learning, the catalyst for engagement. So if we pivot to how we can engage young people in meaningful ways, specifically through informal learning, unlike traditional formal education systems, informal learning environments provide young people with the space to learn outside of formal structures. These settings are often much more flexible, more collaborative, and much more youth-led. This makes a perfect space and platform for engagement. Informal learning can happen anywhere, at youth centres, in community groups, on the streets, or even online. And the beauty of this is that it often puts young people in the driver's seat. Youth work that fosters informal learning does not impose a rigid curriculum. Instead, the focus is on social skills, relational development, life skills, critical thinking, and personal development. It's about learning through and from experience, conversation to dialogue, and ongoing reflection. Although the principle of a curriculum in youth work is a future podcast, creating spaces where informal learning can occur for young people is how we as educators can provide and promote informal education as a vehicle to be there and support young people's adolescence. For example, a youth project might involve creating a community garden, organising a local event, or developing digital skills through media production. In each of these cases, young people are learning valuable lessons around teamwork, leadership, and problem solving, but they're doing it in a way that feels natural and relevant to them. This principle of personal or self-reflection is present in each and every micro or macro experience, and using conversation to establish how each of the experiences feel, how they promote and affect change to personal views, what the learning is from a situation or experience, where the ability increases, where strengths are recognised, both in self and in others. This also identifies the need for personal development, and retrying activities to continued development are essential to enable young people to explore their own journey. As a youth worker some years ago, One of the most powerful things I've experienced is how young people, when given the freedom to learn and explore, can develop skills they never thought they had. We ran a street art project that turned into a movement within a community. Young people acted as mentors to each other and adult members of the community. They learned how to organise events, take on and share responsibilities, and even develop some business skills. None of this was in the classroom. It was all hands-on, happening in the moment, and used informal learning through to informal education in the youth work being developed by young people. The power sharing with the community and positive messages using street art leading to positive well-being, community cohesion and enhanced connection was powerful. A project initiated and designed by young people through a process of learning from getting it right and getting it wrong, reflecting and adapting. Part 4. The power of empowerment through informal learning. So why is informal learning so effective as a catalyst for youth engagement? Well, the answer is relatively simple. It works to empower young people. It respects and values their agency, their choices, and their individuality. In informal learning spaces, young people are more likely to take risks, to be creative, and to feel a sense of ownership over their own work. This not only fosters personal growth, but also strengthens their connections to their peers and their communities. As youth workers, educators, or even parents, our role is not to dictate what young people should be learning, but to create the conditions where they can thrive. Whether it's providing resources, offering guidance, asking questions, or simply giving them the space to figure things out, informal learning can open up pathways to success that a traditional approach might miss. At its heart, youth work is about creating opportunities for young people to discover their potential, and in our safe environments that can be responsive to their needs and aspirations, if we recognise that youth is a fluid concept, shaped by times, by culture, and by individual experiences, and that through informal learning we can support the process of the transitional period towards a future where young people feel empowered and capable. That brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered the social construction of youth, the unique focus on adolescence in youth work, and how informal learning and informal education can serve as a powerful tool for engaging young people. If you're a youth worker, educator, or someone just interested in the development of young people, I hope today's conversation gave you some food for thought, with some consideration regarding your practice. Young people aren't just the future, they are the present, and we can create environments that respect their journey. We enable young people to flourish in ways that will positively impact us all. So thanks for listening to the Youth Work Common Room podcast. If you liked what you've heard, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this episode with your community of practice. You can continue to chat these topics through in the Youth Work Common Room members area on the website www.youthworkcommonroom.com, where you'll find articles to read, access training offers, and also other services. Registration into the members space on the Common Room website is free, and it keeps us safe in our conversations. Until next time, keep doing the incredible work you do alongside young people. Bye-bye.